Hi, I'm Jim O'Connor, and this is the Married Guy's Guide to Life. Today's installment, the famous Grandma Lucy. Her name was Lucille M. Carrel, known far and wide simply as Grandma Lucy. She was the kindest, most faith-filled person I've ever known. With a sparkle in her eye and a ready smile, she was small in stature, but what she lacked in height she more than made up for in attitude. Grandma Lucy was one of God's soldiers, and proud of it. She liked to talk in general, but she loved to talk specifically about God, her faith, and your faith. There were no strangers in her world, just friends she hadn't yet met. And if you were breathing and within eyesight, you were going to get to know Grandma Lucy. Grandma Lucy also loved to cook and bake. That's how she showed her love and affection. When I was stationed overseas, she sent me regular shipments of what my buddies all agreed were the best damn molasses cookies ever made. She was famous for her cookies. So famous, in fact, a couple of my friends actually sent her thank you notes for sending me cookies. Sadly, Grandma Lucy died a little over 3 years ago. I think of her daily, and especially at this time of year. She loved the rebirth that comes with springtime. To her, springtime meant the snow would finally melt, the songbirds would return, and our journey on this earth would continue, as long as the good Lord willed. Grandma had a hotline to God. She was a devout Christian who prayed for each and every one of her 5 children, 16 grandchildren, and 19 great-grandchildren each and every day. She'd sit quietly every morning in her small kitchen and share her thoughts and concerns with God. We knew that and took comfort in it. And she knew that we knew. That's why on those rare occasions when she'd remind me over the phone, "James, I'm praying for you," I understood that was really Grandma Lucy code for, "James, you're making bad choices and you need to get back on the straight and narrow now." Subtlety, a lost art. It was 5 a.m., Wednesday, November 28, 1984. Assembled in Grandma's kitchen were Grandma, my parents, Aunt Christine, and me. Even with the early hour, we were unusually quiet. The only sounds were the tick-tock of the wall clock and the incessant gurgling of her old-school coffee percolator. A heavy cloak of sadness covered the room for 2 reasons. The first reason was the love of Grandma's life, my Grandpa Arnold Carrel, had died just 3 days earlier. They'd been in love since she was 16. She was crushed. Grandpa died on Sunday night. The funeral customarily would have been held the following Wednesday, but things were moved up a day to accommodate me. Just 30 hours earlier, I was wearing my dress blue Air Force uniform as we pallbearers carried Grandpa to his last resting place in a little rural cemetery near Carpenter, Iowa. It was tough to say goodbye. I was wearing that same uniform as I stood in Grandma's kitchen at 5 o'clock the next morning, because of reason number 2. I'd been home on leave following basic training in military technical school. In just a few minutes, my parents would drive me across the state to the Des Moines International Airport so I could fly to Germany to begin my first assignment. Grandma Lucy and I were very close. I was her eldest grandchild. She was my spiritual rock, my inspiration. Now we had to say goodbye. As far as we knew, I might not return for 4 years. It was a difficult moment for Grandma and me. After a prayer and a long pause, she reached across the table and handed me an envelope. Inside was a card with a handwritten note. The card included a small clipping from Guideposts, the magazine seemingly every Christian grandmother reads. As I read it, she told me she understood the journey I was undertaking was very important, and it was something special I needed to do. And she said I needed something to take with me to remind me of how to look at things, especially when things got hard and there were difficult choices to make. I could tell by the look in her eyes she knew what she was talking about. It was one simple line, 12 words I've quoted more times than I can count. Belief is the acceptance of a map. Faith is taking the journey. As I look out the window, I see the robins walking in the snow. As usual, they jumped the gun and arrived a couple weeks too early. It's a reminder to me that life's a journey, and things don't always go the way you expect, just like Grandma Lucy taught me. While Grandma's journey has ended, mine continues. As much as I miss her, I take heart I have faith that she continues to watch over me every day and that she still has that hotline to God. But now, instead of long distance, it's a local call. Thank you, Grandma. Happy springtime.